All right, everyone. Welcome back for another deep dive.
Yeah.
You know, the 2024 election is
Yeah.
heating up. It's getting crazy out there.
Mm.
And we wanted to take a look at one story in particular that really highlights some of the inner workings of a particular campaign effort.
Yeah, this is a fascinating one.
It really is.
Right.
And it raises some serious questions about, ethics and transparency in the whole
Yeah.
process.
Absolutely.
So we're going to dive deep today on this story. And believe me, you might not expect it, but it involves Elon Musk.
Oh, wow.
I know, right? And it also involves some folks that, got caught in the middle of all this.
Well, let's hear it.
So let me set the stage here. We're talking about Elon Musk's America PAC.
Okay.
And they had this big push to knock on doors in Michigan.
Right. Michigan's key.
Always a battleground state.
The battleground state always is.
Right.
And, this kind of door-to-door canvassing.
Yeah.
It's called the ground game.
It's the nuts and bolts of campaigning.
It is. It can have a huge impact on voter turnout.
Yeah.
So
the America PAC, they flew in all these canvassers from all over the country.
yeah.
And a lot of these canvassers were black.
Oh, wow.
And they were promised, a pretty good deal. $2,000 a week.
$2,000 a week.
Wow. To knock on doors.
That's a lot.
Pretty good money. But there was a catch.
There's always a catch.
There was a big catch.
Yeah.
They were pressured to meet these insane quotas.
Oh, no.
And if they fell short, they were going to get stuck with all the travel costs.
Oh, wow.
And lose a good chunk of their pay.
So they're taking advantage of these folks.
Well, it really raises questions about, exploitation.
Yeah.
And especially, given that a lot of these canvassers were brought in from other states.
Right. They're not from there.
They don't have a support system.
Yeah.
They're kind of
Makes them more vulnerable.
very vulnerable. And
Yeah.
so Wired, the tech publication,
Oh, yeah. I've heard of them.
they did some amazing investigative work on this. And what they found is really kind of shocking.
What they find?
So they found that these canvassers were being transported in a U-Haul.
What?
No seats. No seatbelts.
In a U-Haul? That's not even legal.
Yeah, pretty crazy.
Wow.
Right. And they were forced to sign NDAs.
NDAs. So they can't talk about it.
They can't talk about it.
Wow.
And they weren't even told who they were actually working for.
So they didn't even know.
That's shady, right?
Yeah, super shady.
I mean, think about it. Like, transparency is
That's not transparent at all.
not at all.
Wow.
Voters deserve to know who's behind these messages, right?
Absolutely.
This is
full on the strings.
This is a huge red flag for me.
Yeah. One canvasser told Wired that they only figured out it was a Republican pro-Trump operation by overhearing other canvassers
Oh, wow.
talk.
So they had no idea.
They didn't even know Elon Musk was involved until their supervisor
Wow.
just happened to mention it.
Jeez.
Yeah.
So they were completely in the dark.
Talk about being kept in the dark.
Wow.
And this lack of transparency, it's not just an isolated incident.
It's a trend. We're seeing PACs and other political organizations just kind of obscuring their operations.
And how are we supposed to know as voters what's going on?
It's tough.
Yeah.
Right. And then there's the tech side of this story.
Oh, this is where it gets really interesting.
So they use this app
Okay.
to track door knocks.
Right. Makes sense.
But apparently it was super glitchy.
Oh, no.
And it even flagged fake entries. Like you could just be sitting in your car
Really?
and just, hitting the button saying you knocked on a door.
So the data's all messed up.
And so it makes you wonder, how much faith can we really have in the data that these campaigns are collecting?
That's a good question. If they're using a glitchy app like that, how do they even know if their strategies are working?
Right.
They're probably wasting a lot of resources.
And guess what happened after Wired published this expose?
Oh, boy.
They fired over a dozen canvassers who spoke to the press.
Seriously.
Some of them were stranded.
No way.
No way to get home.
So they just left them high and dry.
And without their full pay.
That's awful.
Yeah.
These people are just trying to do their jobs.
Right.
And they get punished for speaking out.
That's really a shame.
Yeah, what happened to freedom of speech?
Right. And it highlights the power imbalance that can exist
Totally.
even in a democratic process, right?
Sure. These workers are vulnerable.
Extremely vulnerable. One of the people who was fired was Tyra Muldrow.
Okay.
She's a 20-year-old black woman from Florida.
Wow.
She was initially underpaid
Oh, jeez.
and then, like many others, let go for just talking to reporters.
That's just not right.
It's a reminder that these campaign stories, they're not just about the
Yeah.
political maneuvering.
There are real people involved.
There are real people
Yeah.
whose lives are being impacted.
I need to remember that.
So we've uncovered some pretty questionable tactics
Yeah,
by this PETIC.
for sure.
A concerning lack of transparency
Huge red flags.
and real consequences for the people involved.
I-
What are your thoughts?
Well, as we head into the 2024 election, this story really raises some important questions that we should all be asking. What level of transparency should we expect from campaigns and political organizations? How can we protect the rights and well-being of campaign workers? And how do we ensure that the information that voters receive is accurate and comes from identifiable sources?
It's a lot to think about.
It is.
This story definitely makes you kind of stop and think about,
Yeah.
how campaigns really operate and the potential for things to go wrong.
Yeah, we need to be more aware.
What are your thoughts on all of this? Head down to the comments and let us know. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this deep dive with your friends so we can keep this conversation going. Thanks for joining us.
See ya.